Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans, pro football fans, whatever fan you are, welcome once again to the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. You like the way I said featuring right there, Clay?
Yeah, I actually wanted to throw in lacrosse, but you know I'm going to do that.
Well, I know you are because you're one of those kind of wacky dudes who grew up in a
play goalie in lacrosse, and you'll be glad to take your head home after the game.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's way over my head, pardon the pun. But bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to you live and direct from our studios here on Bethel Road in North Columbus, Ohio State and Texas are just days away. The ballyhooed, the most ballyhooed of the big-time college football season openers of this year, which is crazy when you think Louisiana State at Clemson. Are you kidding me? That game is huge. Miami and Notre Dame, that is huge. But the hugest, is that the correct term?
Well,
the most huge,
I agree,
is going to be at Ohio Stadium.
This game.
Yes.
I hear ESPN, Yahoo, this, that, say they're all talking about that game, Clemson LSU. Is that bigger? Come on.
I don't know, but we definitely got to spend some money on a teleprompter. It can't go like that the rest of this show, the history of this show. But no,
there you go.
No, LSU Clemson, it's definitely more of a referendum game, in my opinion, than Ohio State-Texas, because I think a lot of people, I'm one of those, barring a ridiculous blowout on one side or the other, I don't think this is a referendum. I think both of these teams are still going to be viable as hell come November.
Players.
Exactly. Players in the sense of playing for the college football playoff, or at least getting into the 12-team field, maybe the final year of the 12-team field. That remains to be seen. But, I'm jacked about it. I'm a longtime college football fan, as are you. Anybody who has watched this show, especially since it became the Clay May show, or the May Clay. The Clay May reports on another is on another medium that we also do work for. But the Tim May show featuring Clay Hall, and that goes for the money to it also. That's how we divvy up the money, is how big is your name in the logo. No, but the bottom line is we're really looking forward to this. We both grew up huge college football fans. I'll reiterate that. We got an interesting show, I think, today, because I've got an interview with Adam King from Channel 10, WBNS TV, right here in Columbus, Ohio. And I kind of want to finish one piece of business with him before we move on to the other piece of business. And he's so talented, he was able to handle both pieces of business.
Excellent. All right.
Take care of the business as we get into this. But yeah, Clay, the closer we get to this game, the bigger it looks, right? And this is an Adam King word, which you'll hear him use in my video, I think. The word clunky, this game could be clunky based on the way it's played, because, when you really look back at that game 8 months ago, that college football playoff semifinal, that was a clunky game. Ohio State scored 3 touchdowns with its offense and one with his defense, and won 28-14. But there were no, there weren't a lot of sustained drives, I guess is the best way of putting it. In that game, it was kind of hit or miss, especially for Texas offensively. And I expect, with Ohio State having to replace 14 draftees from the NFL draft from a few months ago, and Texas replacing 12 big-time players, both teams are replete with talent based on recruiting rankings and the way some of these guys have played. Yet they haven't played that much together yet. And this Ohio State defense, for example, is extremely talented, but until you get to about the 4th or 5th game and everybody knows where everybody else is going, and it's like rote, you know what I mean? Caleb Downs is so valuable to what's going to happen. The number one safety in the country, probably the number one defensive player in the country, is so valuable to getting guys lined up, and vice versa with Texas and their defense.
Let me tell you how I would handle clunky, because when I was in the TV gig, I would go to the set. My show's ready to go, boom, boom, boom. And this was even earlier, my second job in TV in Jackson, Mississippi. And I would do the show, but in my head, I'm thinking, Oh, made a glitch there. That's one. I literally would go through the show. I would say, okay, that wasn't bad. I just made one. Or one day I made three and the tape didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
In this game for these players, you have to move on because you can go to black and the gig is over. So stop thinking about it. You make a mistake, pick it up, move on. And I for that reason, I don't think there will be some, when you replace Ohio State, 4 starters on the D line, Texas replacing 4 starters on the O line. Yeah, there's going to be some checks and balances and some things that go awry, but move on.
Yeah.
Because you can drown in those mistakes and then you put your team in dire straits.
Yeah. I like that.
All right.
I like
clunky.
Straight jacket.
I don't like clunky.
Straight jacket for the fans. But go ahead.
No, we're just expecting so much from this game.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying clunky is because it's going to be hit or miss. You're going to see guys make mistakes. You're going to see both quarterbacks probably make big mistakes in this game. Yeah. Will Howard was a fifth year player. He threw a really bad interception in that game last time these teams played when he tried to force the ball to Jeremiah Smith. I think that was the intended receiver on that play. And Texas backed off and got the interception. So you're going to see both quarterbacks get snookered by the defense.
All right.
You're going to see both quarterbacks get harassed by the defense.
No question. Early on both sides. I have a question for you. How much or how prominent will Jeremiah Smith be in this game? We know Ohio State will have countered with something if they throw the double team. And I've heard these experts say, he's got to get the ball. He's got to touch it. He's got to have it like 6, 8, 10, 12 times a game. Well, if Carnell's open, who cares?
He caught one. I'm doing the Joey Bosa.
All right.
The Joey Bosa. Who knows? Or I think Joey Bosa's thing was whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
The bottom line is we don't know. He caught one swing pass in the first game for 3 yards and had to fight for his 3 yards. There were other times when he was open. Just go watch the video. Mm-hmm. Like I said on some radio show or something the other day, it was more like Ohio State took Jeremiah Smith out of the game as much as Texas did.
Okay.
Just opting to go elsewhere. Elsewhere worked out with Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate. And elsewhere is also going to include Max Clare this year. Ohio State went elsewhere, and even in that game with G. Scott. G. Scott Jr.
Here's another question for you. Did they really need Max Clare? Is he that head and shoulders above all the?
You're pounding the table for somebody. Who are you pounding the table for?
Well, I thought Ohio State was more than adequate. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you've got 5 guys in there now who could probably start in most places.
Well, if you can, as the old saying goes, if you can like upgrade that position, which I thought was pretty stout coming back with Will Kazmarek, Jelani Thurman, Christian Bennett, or Bennett Christian. I always get his name mixed up in my head because he's got 2 last names or 2 first names. My daughter's a super serious boyfriend is named Christian.
Yeah.
But I digress. The bottom line is,
but they think
Max Clare was
better.
Max Clare was one of the top tight ends in the country last year, not just in the Big Ten.
If you play
just like Texas went out and got a tight end from Cal, who's considered to be on the same par as Max Clare. If you can upgrade, you upgrade. Obviously, they lost Gunnar Helm. They're a really good tight end who Ohio State did a great job of throttling in the playoff semifinal. Then when he did finally get a catch for pretty good yardage, he sort of taunted and got 15 yards taken out away from that catch. So, I'm telling you, man, when you get any kind of foothold in a game like this, you do want to celebrate, But
let me tell you.
But anyway, you go and get Max Clare. Absolutely, you do. I mean, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is pro football in its own right now.
Well,
and if you can afford to go get somebody or outbid somebody for somebody or convince somebody that's an upgrade for your team, you're not worried about hurting feelings anymore, especially.
No, of course not.
especially now in the revenue sharing aspect. You're not worried about hurting anybody's feelings. Everybody's getting paid now.
No, if you think you upgraded the position, then that means they're going to go to the tight end maybe more than twice a game.
Well, maybe, but you know what? If the tight end draws the attention you think he's going to draw, you go to Jeremiah Smith, you go to Carnell Tate. That's the great. They're having those options, but having those decoys, that's huge. Go duck hunting. Go duck hunting someday without a decoy, and then go with a decoy.
That's right.
Tell me where you're more successful, or without a duck call.
Can you believe I was watching and I'm digesting everything I can hear or read about this game? Jordan Rogers, ESPN talking head, younger brother of Aaron. I'd never heard this, said this morning.
Who also was at Vanderbilt. Is he still at Vanderbilt?
No,
he's long gone from Vanderbilt.
No, he played.
Those quarterbacks tend to pop off.
Diego
Pavia. Diego Pavia. Diego Pop-Off Pavia.
He said this morning on Arch Manning, who some have sort of elevated to lofty status. The tape. Sound effects. I like that.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
the tape, Tim, doesn't match the hype.
And what does that mean?
And so I can make you look good. You can make me look good.
Yes.
You can make me look bad, awfully bad.
Especially when I show you the left side of your face.
Well, the video.
I found that out the first day we did a video together.
Well, the video.
Although I think your face is asymmetrical.
No, it's not. This is.
Or symmetrical, I guess.
This is where I want to be on the left side. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Screen right, left to me.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the right side.
So if you show me 45 seconds of picks, deflections, bad balls overthrown, you can sell your case.
Yeah.
But I've never heard that. And he was proud to say, you won't hear this from anybody else. And as if to say,
Paul Feinbaum, where are you? Is what he was saying.
At crunch time, the kid could make a mistake. Of course he could. I
think what he was getting to is when he's under pressure. Yeah. I can show you these videos. Yeah. Now, he was under pressure how many times? Because he's hardly played. When you really get right down to it, he's hardly played. He's played, in mop-up duty or sometimes they put him in for a change of pace in some games.
Yeah.
They put him in for a change of pace against Georgia and then put Quinn Ewers back in the game, for example, last year. It didn't work out for him. They still got beat, even though Carson Beck got knocked out of that game. They still got beat in, overtime, whatever it was in the SEC championship game. Yeah. But, I can put on some video of Julian saying, not really knowing what's up a few times last year when he got in, but who was he playing with?
Right.
Second and third team offensive linemen and second and third team receivers. And running backs. So, the great thing is now it's kind of like when you watch a guy, it's kind of the opposite of watching a guy really prove himself in, say, the Indy Next series, and then he gets a shot in a real Indy car. Indy Next, you can dominate if you're really good. Mm-hmm. When you're second and third string going in with second and third stringers in mop-up duty, you can look really bad, and it's not be your fault because there is no congruency to how you're being protected to guys necessarily running routes. Guys, maybe you're throwing to you've barely even met in the chow line, much less on the practice field. Now, Julian Sayin has had these many months, and especially the last 2 weeks, but even preseason camp to get used to, and all of summer throwing 7-on-7, running 7-on-7 games to get ready to who he's throwing to. But Brian Hartline and Ryan Day want to establish the run best, whatever that means. They're not going to give up on that unless it's just desperate. They're going to try to establish a run in this game too, which goes back to what you alluded to a while ago. The strength of this offense going into this game, other than the wide receiver room and the tight end, is the offensive line.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because if they don't work, everything else won't work.
But think if Peoples comes out and has a whale of a game.
James Peoples, ladies and gentlemen, the People's choice at running back from San Antonio, Texas.
Or Turbo Rogers, I believe, out of.
Yeah, he probably
out of Carver. And
no, he's out of Montgomery. Yeah. But I'm not sure he's going to get to play. Based on what Ryan threw at us the other day, it looks more like Bo Jackson.
Well, and then Bo.
Yeah, but C.J. Donaldson's the guy you're leaving out.
Yeah, for sure. And 6'2", 235. Carlos Lachlan was he was almost kind of daydream. When I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, it was like, this kid, I threw out, well, he had stopped me in my tracks when I said, well, he's got that Eddie George build. He goes, don't use that name.
Yeah.
Don't use that.
Yeah, that's like people saying it's the next Orlando Pace. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding?
There was only one Eddie George,
no. Yeah.
who, by the way, whose season gets going on Thursday night at Bowling Green.
Very good.
When they're hosting, when I saw it on the schedule, it said Bowling Green versus Lafayette. I go, Louisiana Lafayette, that's a pretty decent opponent. Although I think they just go by Louisiana now, right?
They do.
And number two, he's talking about Lafayette. We're talking about Lafayette from the Lafayette Lehigh series,
from the Patriot
which
League.
you have connections to because of your son and lacrosse. But it's not to be confused with over the top, big time Division I football. But it's going. Everything's going to be interesting. Nobody's the next, really. I mean, if everybody pigeonholes me, who does James Peoples remind me of? He reminds me a lot of J.K. Dobbins, but he's different from J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. But he has that high knee.
Yes.
He has that quick jump, as I call it. But the jump cut is what I call J.K. Dobbins. What he showed against Indiana that first time we saw him play for the Buckeyes as a freshman, and he had 100 and something yards against Indiana. Over at Indiana.
Was that on Thursday night?
That was on a Friday night, I thought.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't on Saturday night. No. And it wasn't on Saturday at noon.
No,
but the bottom line was he reminds me a lot of him, but he can really finish things, man, just like JK could. He could finish. Mm-hmm. Remember how Urban Meyer would always challenge his backs. Don't just crack the line. Don't just get to the second level.
Hurt somebody.
Take it to the house.
Oh,
yeah. But hurt somebody if you can. That's Carlos Lachlan. Yeah. Carlos Lachlan doesn't teach stiff arming. No. He teaches punch. I mean, and he's right. If you go back and watch, man, how many times did Quinshon Judkins stick a guy's face in the, not the dirt, the little black rubber grommets that are in the artificial turf.
That are in my shoes.
Yes.
You go to Woody about 3 times and you got to go to the backyard and empty. It's like you're building a new spare tire
if you keep all the grommets. But that's what they're looking for, a physical approach to the offensive line to go against a defensive front from Texas that's has been rebuilt, got some quality players on it. Do they have, the Simmons kid, the rusher is big time par excellence. But Ohio State pretty much held him at bay for the most part the last time they played. So that's the critical matchup in this game to help Julian Sayin find his footing.
Here's another matchup. Hero Canoe, who portaled to Texas from Ohio State. And he has a lot of buddies on the Ohio State O-line.
Yeah.
And as we talk to them, Luke Montgomery and Carson Hensman kind of fessed up about, we're trying to learn some German expletives.
Yeah.
Because we want to go at him. We want to juice him a little bit.
Yeah.
And we
cajole him
and see how he responds. And we don't want to, surely refs have heard a few expletives.
Is the most famous expletive, the most infamous expletive German? The one that starts with an F?
Are you saying that's where it came from?
I don't know, but it sounds like a German word when you really say it. And you put the exclamation point.
I always say
put the exclamation point on the end, not the but the
yeah, because
we don't curse on this show.
I know a little Russian, but I don't know German. But German to me is the most fearsome. It feels like everything I don't want to go crazy.
Everything.
But it's a very boom boom.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. They
So
don't go left and right. They go straight ahead.
My best friend Ron Coffey's German. And by the way, we have already making plans. He found out the British Open is at St. Andrews in 27. We're already booking.
Good for you. I'm serious. Good for you. I'm serious. I'm going to see that course in some form or fashion with my own 2 eyes one of these days before I go. It'll be probably when right now, like I said, I hit the ball farther than I've ever hit it. Doesn't mean I always know where it's going. Most of the time I don't. I go right when you find work to the ball before I hit it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see that. But that's not bucket list. That's just forget bucket. It's on the list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That supersedes bucket list. Yeah. Kind of like how, honey, pick up the milk on your way home, well, and also go to St. Andrews and check it out.
That was the reason he's my college roommate. He and his wife came up for the memorial, and we just, we rebonded, and he's like, we got to see each other more often. And then out of the blue, he said, I just looked up St. Andrews 27. And I even got the wife on board. So I said,
there you go.
We're in.
There you go.
We're in.
Of course, that's what everybody said when they got on the Lusitania or got on the Titanic. We're in.
We're not boating.
Count us in.
We're not going to boat. We're not boating over.
Women and children first. But anyway, I digress.
Right.
Well, you know what? Let's get to this.
Let's
get to this conversation I had with Adam King, one of my good friends. He's in the television side of things. Everybody around Columbus knows who he is. He's sharing the same seat sometimes with Dom Taberry, legend of local television, and Nicole Sheeran, also one of my favorite people of Channel 10, the sports department there. And let's get my conversation with him and what, just kind of what he remembers about finding the video that really was the smoking gun.
I have to give it up for the kid.
Yeah.
I have to.
There was a smoking gun when it came to the Connor Stallions. Yeah, so much so, as he points out in this conversation, the NCAA mentioned it in their report, this video. So without further ado, let's get to my conversation with Adam King. Oh my goodness, man. I've been wanting to have Adam King on the Tim May Show for a while now. We finally put it together. We got permission from the highest source, Matt Fishman. And by the way, Matt Fishman, good luck. I know you're facing a little bit of a physical challenge, but thanks for giving Adam King permission to join Tim May on the Tim May Show. And Adam, welcome to the Tim May Show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
Dude, I've been wanting to have you on for a little while, only because before we get into Texas versus Ohio State, and Ohio State being the reigning national champion, we all know the Connor Stallions scandal that happened a couple of years ago. And I really thought that when the thing was sort of like semi-simmering or dying down a little bit, out came this video that you dug up of Connor Stallions and the defensive staff at Michigan, defensive coordinator at Michigan, watching intently as Ohio State called an offensive play in the Ohio State-Michigan game from the year before, I think it was, 2022.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you see them going, they realized what the play was. It was indisputable evidence that they knew the play, they knew the signal for the play, and everybody on the Michigan bench then, it looked like the roof is on fire, they were doing. But I just thought it threw gasoline on that fire at exactly the right moment. And number one, did you get that same sense? But number two, give people some idea of why you thought you would find something like that, or the effort you put into it.
I don't know that I thought I would find something that, that went that
damning?
viral. Yes. Yeah. I certainly was looking, because just the way that we shoot our games, sometimes you do get a sideline shot, but we follow the football, so second to play snapped, you're not shooting the sideline.
Right.
But I was just kind of going through, and I went through all of we have high up camera, and I went through all that, and I didn't see anything. And then,
is that what y'all call it, the high up camera?
There you go. That's what
D-deck.
we call it the up cam. There you go. The D-deck cam.
That sounds cooler.
Yeah. Better than the high up cam.
Yeah.
And so then I started going through our down low stuff, and that was the first drive, or the second drive, and I saw that, and I kind of couldn't believe it. I remember calling over one of the producers and saying, "Hey, I think we got something here," and you can see the guys pointing up, and I will say, for the longest time, it was a very mixed reaction to the video, because people said, "Well, that happens all the time in football." I've never seen an entire sideline pointing up to dictate
second possession of a game.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that was really important, is that this was the second drive of the game. You can't decode someone's signs that quickly.
No.
Without having
even
some
if you have been in the Marines.
Yes, without some prior knowledge. I will say there are a lot of people that say, well, he scored on this play because it was a pass to Emeka Egbuka. Just because you know the play doesn't mean you can stop it.
Correct.
And I understood some of the speculation. Hey, this, that, and the other. Well, then when the Big Ten put out the report, they cited that video.
Yes.
And so that was, for me, okay. Obviously, everything we put out that went out there, it was something because it's enough that the conference saw the video and said, this is clearly showing that this man had prior knowledge of signs, because that just doesn't happen. You will not see that in the Ohio State-Texas game where an entire sideline has a signal to tell the defense if it's a pass play or not.
Even if they just played 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, things change, right?
It was crazy.
Hey, real quick, but I wanted to get your take, number one, on this notion that was put forth by Michigan all along that Jim Harbaugh had no idea what was going on. He didn't know this stuff was going on. I think at one point you can see him actually in the video, if I'm not mistaken. But the bottom line was he was just right down the street there from this guy standing next to his defensive coordinator and talking to his defensive coordinator, Jim Harbaugh's defensive coordinator, as the play is going on. And what's your take on the fact that Jim Harbaugh claimed he had no knowledge of what was going on, and then, of course, never appeared in front of the NCAA committee to basically explain things?
I mean, I think the nice thing is I don't have to have that big of a take anymore. For the longest time, we had to have a take. The NCAA has their take, and it's what, a 10-year show clause is
that's a pretty good take.
Yeah, and so it tells me all I need to know. They had the ins and outs of the investigation. Do we all think that Harbaugh knew? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that he knew. I mean, you don't magically have... My favorite part was he was a low-level staffer. That's how this all started. He's a low-level staffer.
Yeah.
And there he is standing next to the defensive coordinator in the biggest game of the year on the second drive of the game. That's not a low-level staffer. That's where they got, I think, into the first realm of trouble, because then that creates speculation. If they had said, hey, we have a guy, he works alongside our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators to do X, Y, and Z, didn't allude to the sign stealing, okay, well, then you have plausible deniability that this guy, okay, he has a reason to be there. He's a low-level staffer holding a binder on a field. I think there's no world where Jim Harbaugh wouldn't have walked down and gone, who's this guy and why is he standing there every single game as we're, getting ready for the biggest game of the season.
Yeah, Watergate, those were low-level staffers.
There you go.
But I digress. Bottom line is, did they get their just penalty? And here's the point. You and I talked about this the day before the penalties came out. And my point was, you and I both agreed that we thought this is what they got was what they were going to get, but it wasn't. It wasn't what they should have gotten.
No,
I think we both agreed on that, right?
I think that they created a certain level of ambiguity as to how bad cheating truly is.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
That's the best way of putting it.
It's you never want to have a world where someone sees the repercussions and says, yeah, would I do that to win a title? Sure.
Yeah.
You want to make it very clear, which, I think about Tattoo-Gate, they did make it very clear.
Yeah.
Do not do this, or these are the repercussions.
Yeah.
You've got a postseason ban, your bowls removed, games removed, your
by the way,
coach is gone.
you still get to play in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Well, yeah, exactly. We'll make all that money from that. But I mean, at the end of the day, now if you're another program, and I will say, I think that the money is going to be a problem for Michigan. I think in an era where
I agree,
athletic departments are trying to find every dollar to put forward in this new revenue sharing, that's going to cause a problem for Michigan. Is it a problem that a postseason ban would? That a removal of games? I didn't think they were going to remove the national title, and I don't think they needed to have the national title removed. What I just thought would have been sufficient is some level of actual punishment on the field for cheating that took place on the field. Because the one thing I really didn't like about the Michigan scandal, you can cheat in recruiting, you can cheat in all this other stuff. They cheated in the game. They affected the actual outcomes of games. Now, the NCAA says they don't believe that affected the outcome. Wow. I don't know how. That's what they put in their report.
I know, but I'm saying, wow.
I don't know how you could properly come to that conclusion with some of the plays that you see when you hear Jack Sawyer talking about the tight end screen that they had never run, but magically Michigan snuffed out. There's moments like that I go, really? It didn't affect the outcome of the game? I don't believe it.
Yeah. the skunk works didn't affect the outcome of the Cold War either. But that's neither here nor there. That's for an aviation buff like Matt Patricia.
Yeah, that's not for me.
So let's get dovetail real quick. I don't want to keep you all day because I know you got all kinds of things going on this week. Ohio State versus Texas, 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, depending on which poll you
I use the 1 versus 2. It's cooler.
I do too.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why
sounds
you wouldn't.
better.
I don't know why everybody's acquiescing to the Associated Press, which, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, once it came out with the coaches poll, that was it. We had it locked in. You could send 1 versus 2, and you have factually information to back you up.
And none of that, but these are coaches that recruit against these teams. You understand what I'm saying? Not just play against them, some of them, but recruit against them. They know that there's a stockpile of talent on both sides of this ball. Yeah. It is incredible to have this kind of opener. But as I've argued, even on a Channel 10 special, we just videotaped, or whatever y'all do with it, digitally recorded. I would much rather see this game in October than August 30th. October 30th than August 30, only because these are two youngish teams with two first-time, full-time starting quarterbacks. It just seems like it'd be a much better game then. But it is what it is, right?
It is an interesting concept if you think about Ohio State versus Oregon last year, because that was an October game. Think about Ohio State that took the field against Akron versus the team that took the field in Eugene. Now, obviously, they didn't win in Eugene, and they had their defensive issues. But on offense, they were a whole different program. They started to find themselves. Will Howard settled in. That's a guy that's been playing football for a long time, still trying to settle into a new offense. Julian has one of the positives that he was in the program last year. He's not coming into a whole new world, but he hasn't done this. His first game is going to be against Texas. I don't know that we've really seen a starting quarterback jump into a game like this. I mean, even Arch Manning has 3 starts. When CJ had to open the season against Notre Dame, he was coming off a whole year in a Rose Bowl where he was now the presumptive Heisman favorite, really. And it's very interesting to see just how this is going to play out, because I keep using my word of the week is clunky, and I think it's going to be clunky. And if you're a Buckeye fan, you have to be okay with that, because it's going to be clunky on both sides. You're not going to see Texas come in here and just light it up. I know some people think that will happen. Texas has got a lot of new, too. They have a completely new offensive line. They lost a lot of pieces on defense. They've got a new quarterback in their own right trying to lead in an environment that's insane. So, yes, I would love to see it in October. We may get to see it in December or January.
I think so.
But we can promise you we'll see it in 4 days.
Yeah, and you know what makes it clunky is both of these defenses are going to have talent. They have great talent. Ohio State's replacing 8 stars, but so many of those guys played. So many of the guys that are going to be playing on Saturday played on that goal line stand. You know, like Jermaine Matthews. He was in there for, I think, Denzel Burke on that goal line stand. Just right on down the line. But what makes it clunky is they both are going to be keen on taking away what you really want to do best. Yeah. So that makes it clunky. Now you got to find it. You got to find that big play. You got to somehow or another, somebody's got to create a big play, and you don't go to the end of the huddle and go, all right, this is the big play. Jeremiah Smith, catch this and run with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Texas's number 1 thing is going to be take away Jeremiah Smith. Texas's number 2 thing is going to be to slow the run game, and then whatever happens after that is going to be up to Julian Sand to figure out how to work around that.
Congratulations to you.
Yes. Good luck out there. Is that answer, Max Clare? I think I predicted that there will be 2 tight end touchdowns in this game for Ohio State. I think that is going to be the outlet for Ohio State. I don't think if we get down by the goal line, they're going to let Jeremiah Smith get in a one-on-one matchup. It's just not going to happen because at the end of the day,
I guess we hit a little snafu there at the end of that recording. You never know what's going to happen when you're doing live to tape or live to digital.
That's true. That's true.
But no, he made good points. And I wanted to get you to react to the a little bit to his take on Connor Stallions and the Michigan thing.
Yeah.
I saw you scribbling furiously. It was either that or you were making a list of what you got to pick up
outside
on the way home.
Outside of that moment and what transpired, and I want to comment because the NCAA.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, but they suddenly had an epiphany that they don't want to be punitive against the current players. So they're breaking stride on a philosophy they had for 50 years, 70 years, I don't know. Hey, we'll penalize Middle Tennessee. We'll penalize Mississippi State. We'll penalize some other lower rung. I just don't think the NCAA wants to shutter the cash cows.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it from their broadcast partners. And I just, of the many, many times I've seen them kill a school on the verge of something great because some guy 2 years ago, it would take, their legislative, their investigative process, how long that takes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got to answer that. That'll be 6 months. And then they'll get to answer that. And it just suddenly is so convenient for them. Yeah, the money is something. I would agree. Was it 20 or 30? I've heard both.
Well, 20, but it can be a certain number as it goes along. I mean, obviously they have to forfeit their postseason receipts for the next 2 seasons.
But they get to play for the championship.
Yeah, but
that's ludicrous.
Well, that means if they have the best team in the country, the rest of the conference doesn't get penalized financially because of them, but they get penalized financially. You gotta understand what Ohio State make last year, 4-8. I think Ohio State made $20 million for getting to the college football playoff championship game. So did Notre Dame. Notre Dame got to keep all that.
Right.
The big Ohio State splits it now. Every team gets like $3 million in essence expense money for being in each level of the games. But the bottom line is, it's a substantial penalty. If the Big Ten ends up with the way it goes, it could be upwards of 30 million. Okay. When you really get rid. And then, even though,
don't you at that point you delve into your $1 billion.
Well, you say that like that's like you can go to the bank and take out all the money in your 401k and now you're okay. I mean, you would prefer to keep that money where it is. I know Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports made some kind of comment like they've got that much money in their cushions on their couch or whatever.
Yeah,
it was something really stupid like that. If it wasn't that, and the bottom line is it's still a load of cash. Plus, they're being penalized on I think on their scholarships and things like that too down the line, and some of their recruiting. They're having recruiting restrictions of some sort that are fairly substantial. Because remember, this wasn't just for Stallions, the Stallion scandal. It was for some recruiting violations also.
Well, and their digital screw ups and what they were downloading of current athletes.
Yeah, but that's going to be
female,
that's going to be decided in civil court. Yeah, right. Where believe me, they have much more subpoena power than the NCAA.
And I don't say this as some proponent of Ohio State. I'm the proponent for all the other schools who had to suffer because they dropped the hammer on stuff that is not even
I'm with you, brother.
Is not even a speck compared to this. It's incredible.
Amen, brother.
They get to run out in those winged helmets.
Yeah, Sharon Moore's going to miss 2 games this year and one game next year. I think
26.
I think it's the opener he has to miss. I'm not sure, but it's really going to be a real suspension, not a just suspension from going to the game and then joining your team right afterwards, like Jim Harbaugh enjoyed. Yes. I will say enjoyed it because what a joke. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. As Adam King and I finally surmised, they didn't get what they should have gotten, but they got what we thought they were going to get in this new world, where definitely you don't want to penalize everybody for one team's transgressions. And like I've always said, the main thing the NCAA was doing back in the past, and the NCAA keep reminding people, it's not the FBI. It's
no subpoena power.
Yeah, but it's the NCAA is Ohio State. It is Michigan. It is Georgia. It is USC. I know, but the point is the rules are all agreed upon, and the Committee on Infractions, everybody else are all agreed upon by a group that are working for the schools, not vice versa. And so they did go light on them, in my opinion, big time light. But the main thing was the reason you penalize as harshly as they did in the past is the schools are supposed to keep tabs of things. They are the local sheriff. And when the local sheriff just turns his back to crime in his county or his city, then then that's when the big boys come to town.
They had no jurisdiction.
Right.
I mean, Michigan did not.
The Michigan cops opted to look the other way.
Lack of institutional control.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's all.
Yeah. But you're right. The penalties they were found guilty of 20 years ago might have made Tatgate look like a slap on the hand.
Well, no doubt they might. I mean, they're just not going to take a Michigan brand off television.
Right.
It's just too valuable.
Well, but like I said, though, it hurts everybody, not just Michigan when you do that.
It does.
They are paying a financial penalty for being basically one of the elite programs for the next 2 years, if in fact they rise to that. Isn't it funny how it seemed like everything you heard was they were hardly forthcoming at all with the NCAA.
Right.
And then with community infractions brings out its penalties. They want to challenge them or appeal them.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Line these guys up and let us talk to them, and then we'll talk to you later.
Even your boy Portnoy was laughing. He said, "Yeah, we can pay that off next week with allowance." I mean, it just wasn't
exactly. Hey, by the way, let's clear something else up. Portnoy is going to be part of the Barstool Sports is going to be part of the Fox family, for want of another term, especially pregame family.
Right.
And much has been made of the fact that the last hour of that pregame show on Saturday, which includes Ohio State former Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, and Rob Stone and those other guys.
Matt
Leinart, Rob Stone, Portnoy won't be part of that group that's in the stadium, and a lot of people think Ohio State banned him from the stadium, which I understand is not exactly accurate.
Not according to Ross Bjork.
Yeah. And, even according to Jerry Emig, the sports information director, as they learned, I mean, they want their number one, their base crew in there for that game. I mean, for that segment, that hour-long segment before the kickoff. And he's not part of that base crew, but the way we understand, he's going to be appearing every week now in the pregame show in some form or fashion.
Right.
And that was much ado about very little, that somebody just took a story and ran with it and made, once again, Portnoy the poor guy, the hero of the story.
Yeah, the martyr.
Yeah, the martyr.
Or the villain.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm giving up to him. He found a gig just like Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah.
He found a niche. Yeah, a loophole, or not loophole, it's not the right term. And he's running with it, baby.
I guess you got to just, go to pizza places and rate them.
Hey, I think that's a good segment. I watch every one of those. I think they're excellent. But
Portnoy
sitting back and flaunting the NCAA and the enforcement aspect of the NCAA, which everybody now thinks the NCAA has run its course. Well, one of the reasons is because of that kind of attitude. And they've never had subpoena power, never will have. The only thing they've had the power of was to penalize you if you don't show up. Well, you can't play in NCAA games anymore, players or coaches, if you're not forthcoming when we ask you to come forward and testify, but also bring your records with you. And there were Ohio State people in the past that opted not to show up, and they got their just due based on the NCAA, of which Ohio State is still a proud card-carrying member of. So, don't you have any questions for me, man? What would you like to ask me before we move to this? Chad Cascio, interesting.
To the dental chair?
Yeah, to the dental chair.
Well,
I think Julian Sayin, I'm just saying, I think Julian Sayin's prime for this opener. We talked about that the other day.
I do too.
He's going to make mistakes, but he's operating behind an offensive line, the midst of which if they do miss a block, can still calm him down when he pays the price for it. But I think he's out there with basically a band of brothers, of which he's the new guy. He's the new lieutenant, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Coming up to lead the way.
Yeah.
And we all saw Will Howard grow from who's this guy at the beginning of the year last year to clearly the leader of the offense as the season progressed, and definitely in the playoffs. And I think Julian Sayin, barring catastrophe, has the same kind of potential.
And it seems, check my story here, that Luke Montgomery was kind of the beneficiary, because they had to move Donovan, right, when Simmons went out. And then he plays in the last 2 ball games. I thought he would play more, and he did in spot duty, I guess. But I think now, and
Carson Hinsman originally moved to a guard because Seth
Right.
McLaughlin was still around, and Seth McLaughlin got hurt in practice after the Northwestern game, and that was your second big-time starter missing from the offensive line. But Donovan Jackson, that's why they spent so much time the last 8 months.
I'm looking under this.
Yeah, that's
part.
okay. Just pick it up. The last 8 months, they've spent so much time cross-training these dudes.
Yeah.
So you don't run into a desperate or disparate situation if something like that happens. And really, they rolled with the punch last year. But really, the way Luke Montgomery stepped up his game, the way Carson Hinsman, he didn't just come off the bench. He came out of the doghouse next to the bench.
Carson Hinsman
went in at guard to begin with, and then at Penn State, and then moved over to center. And suddenly then the movement of the pieces seemed obvious, and Luke Montgomery stepped up there into left guard, and the best offensive line in the country in the last 4 games of the year.
Yeah. And Hinsman, Ohio State's won some Remingtons around here, so it wouldn't.
By the way, I'd like to apologize too, because I'm a fidgety guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm talking, sometimes when I'm not, I'm doing this. I know it drives some people crazy, but that's just the way I've always been since I was a little tyke. But you're right. I mean, Carson Hinsman, all of a sudden he's on the Remington watch list.
And he's a Wisconsin kid, right? And
the
rest are
grew up on a dairy farm.
Ohioans.
And he's used to hard work.
Yeah. And that
he's used to shoveling stuff, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
But
my
anyway,
brother and I had to do that.
Yeah. But
Eugene Hall wanted that garden/farm. Get out there and pick those beans, boys. And I want to see it,
We had a victory garden all the time I was growing up. And my mom and dad, of course, grew up in the World War II era, the Depression, and then the World War II era. So we had a garden, and I've tried to have a garden a few times because I got 4.5 acres of land with a couple of horses and stuff. But man, the third time the weevils or whatever those bugs are got to my sweet corn, I said, forget it. I'll go buy it down at the Yoder's Market.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, so you got to sit in the chair with Chad Cascio, dentist extraordinaire, right there on Lane Avenue. Everybody knows where his dentist office is because he's got Cascio up on the top of it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good building. You sat in the chair, and then you put him in the chair, and you grilled him for a couple of minutes, right?
Well, yeah, no.
Former Ohio State
grilling, but
former Ohio State wide receiver, walk on
for John Cooper,
was originally from Upper Arlington, which is where he still abides. This is where my older son and my grandsons and my daughter-in-law abide.
Yeah.
But introduce us to this little short video.
Well, I always get a story usually when I'm there, and he's helped me through some tough times. I've had 2 root canals in the last 2 months or whatever it was. He didn't do them. He referred them, and then he would clean it up and finish it and cap it. And, but I don't mind going to the dentist because I do get to see him. And
Let me interrupt. Every dentist is not a root canal specialist.
No.
I don't understand that.
He referred me.
I don't understand that, but go ahead.
Yeah. So some guy went to school with, and by the way, I was kind of dreading the root canal. My son's had 1 or 2. He's like, oh gosh, no. But this dude, it's similar. They get in there, they give you.
Don't get into gruesome details of a root canal.
Well, they deaden you, and apparently there was like.
Do you come out there talking like Kramer on that One Side Phillip episode?
This is the crazy thing. You walk out of the office, and you're not like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're pain free finally.
I'm digressing. Anyway.
By the way, I've never had a cavity, which is very interesting.
That's incredible.
But I have had a broken tooth in the back capped, and I've rarely ever dealt with what.
So how did you do
you're talking
that, Tim May? You're a consummate flosser.
I'm 71 years old, and I bit down on a piece of. I really like to eat the kernels of unpopped popcorn.
How did you avoid
number one,
a cavity?
Number one, we had fluoride in our water in Demopolis, Alabama when I was first born. I really think that has a lot to do with it.
Awesome.
I'm the only one in my family who didn't have cavities, but my grandpa on my mom's side never had a cavity. He died at like 88 years old, and just pure luck. It's genetic as much as anything else. But luckily I inherited that gene along with his good looks and charm.
There you go.
but Pappy, as I called him, by the way, this is a true story. Used to like slip us a little bit. He never had a whole lot of money. They lived out in the country. He split fire. He split his own firewood. Dude, he hewn railroad ties.
No kidding.
Yeah, back in the day, that was how he made his money from, because in all across the South, there's the belt, the Piney Woods belt. It goes from just west of Lufkin, Texas, where we finally grew up, all the way up through North Carolina, Virginia, but a swath. But he hewn railroad ties. That's how he made his money. And I'll never forget one time he was he used to give my brothers a dollar bill occasionally, but he always gave me a $5 because he liked me. Because and then one day, one day he accidentally gave me a 10, and I felt bad for him because he was embarrassed, but he had to make change. So I gave him the 10 back, and he gave me 5. It's kind of like the reverse thing. You see those hold up videos at a convenience store where the guy gives you a 10 and said, "No, I gave you a 20," right? But let's get to Chad Cascio, man.
All right. Well, I said, hey, I got some questions for you. I just had a cleaning today, and he checked my issues where the root canals were. They had to do new X-rays, all good. Because eventually, if that tooth under there cracks again, we're going to have to yank. So we didn't have to do that.
See, I didn't want to get to those details because I was trying to put my fingers in my ears.
All right. So, no blood today.
Good. There you go.
So
this isn't radio.
So we went through the cleaning. And by the way, she went with the water right off the bat.
Good.
I was like, wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
You haven't scratched any. You haven't. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So then
was it water mixed with breath freshener?
Well, I had raspberry. You have mint. You have orange, you have,
I guess that's good.
Something. And halfway through, I go, that smells pretty good. That's not bad. Usually you can't tell what it is.
Yes.
Go raspberry. All right. Now, so Chad comes in, he gives me the little consultation, and that's where this begins.
Yeah, let's cue it up.
No, Chad, good checkup for me. What do you think?
Everything looks great.
No issues?
No problems.
I'm flossing okay.
Absolutely, doing your job.
Listen, you got a busy weekend. Tell me how you're going to finally get to Columbus to watch the Horns and the Bucks.
Well, Friday night I'm going to be up at Michigan State because I've got a daughter going to school up there and dancing for their dance team. I'm going to spend the night in a hotel, get up at about 4 a.m, drive back as fast as I can, make sure I see that Texas game.
Can you compare this hype to anything else you've seen in Columbus?
Not too many. Not certainly at the first game of the season. I can't remember anything that's been that big. I mean, obviously we've had some pretty big games later in the season, but it's a new world, and it'll be exciting to see what happens.
When you get in your nice cozy suite and hunker down for the game, what are you most curious about as a former Buckeye receiver?
Well, I always certainly think that there's no replacement for experience on the field. So we have tons of talent. We got guys there, but we have a lot of inexperienced people. So the biggest thing is you never know who's going to show up ready to play. And so I'm really just curious to see how we respond to an unfamiliar environment with all the new players.
In general, kind of. What do you hear? What do you think Julian Sayin will do in his first start?
Well, I hear nothing but good things. Everybody says he does a great job. Obviously, the speed of the game is going to be a lot different, but he's got some great talent that he's spreading the ball around to. So, when in doubt, throw it to Jeremiah Smith.
Well, you were the original Jeremiah Smith, right?
Didn't have that talent.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Chad Cascio was right place, right time. Former walk-on, and it's hard to remember some of those late 90s offenses without him in there because it wasn't wide receiver at one point there. And I remember a game he played at Arizona way back when, the temperature was 99 degrees at kickoff at 8 p.m. Arizona time in Tucson. Yeah. And he had a hell of a game. But I mean, still one of my favorite players just from dealing with him. His parents were great. And it's pretty cool that you keep it all in the family there.
Well, I wanted to frame him with some of his pictures, not the basketball team, but
that was funny.
He's doing a business. All 6 of his rooms were filled up. And so I chose that over the ceiling.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, a great guy and has treated me oh so well. And yeah, you need a dentist.
Yeah. It's great.
He's available.
Yeah, it's great catching up with any of these guys. I mean,
that's you know, that
been the arena, baby.
Yeah, and you build this, and I'll give Moose Spahn taught me a lesson about his own Rolodex, which is dating you and I, but
not really.
Dude,
I'm 71 years old.
No,
I predate Rolodex.
Yeah, well, you and me both. But you know, you just learn to relationships, building those things, rapport. Because if you're going to stay in Columbus and cover sports, you better know about 100 of those guys that you know, and that's carried me so far.
Yeah,
in TV and media and whatever, and so those guys are so invested, and because they laid it on the line.
Yeah,
and so.
Absolutely.
As Chad did with Coop.
That's the reason I have Matt Wilhelm. I mean, Matt Wilhelm was on that national championship team in 2002. By the way, speaking of gaffes, when I was watching that, I realized I asked him, so going back to your team in 14, blah, 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 you know, at one point in the thing, and I want people to know that I did understand I made a mistake there. Matter of fact, I understood I made a mistake when I actually said it, but, you know, you don't get in the way of a snowball when it's coming down the hill.
Well, I made a bigger mistake when I said the other day, on the behind the you know the app that the two quarterbacks, Sayan and Arch Manning, are the two top quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah,
I should have said underclass quarterbacks, but
Arch has been there 3 years.
But let's see how it works out at the end of the year. They might be right up there with the two guys you mentioned.
Yeah, that was a Freudian. That was a Freudian.
Well,
I mean,
I got a little fired up
because neither one of those two guys we're going to talk about, Garrett Nussmeier or Cade Klubnik, neither one of them have grabbed the brass ring yet.
That's true. I mean,
so
we'll see.
I mean, I really like Lenore Sellers. I couldn't hardly say his name, from South Carolina. Really like that guy from a leadership standpoint and the way he plays. He got better as the year went on last year, and they were one of the best teams in the country. But you know what? They got beat by Illinois in the bowl game.
That's when Bielema got under Shane Beamer's skin. That was that was a little coaching. I love
Razzmatazz.
Yeah, I love that. The intrigue of the relationships, and I'll stick it to you, et cetera.
You're from the Southeastern Conference. We don't care.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just like USC had a mediocre season last year, right?
Yeah.
They started with a win over the SEC's LSU, and they ended it with a bowl game win in Las Vegas. Over the SEC's Texas A&M, which in its previous game had been playing Texas for the right to play in the SEC championship game.
Well, I guess
so. The point is that all this SEC blah blah blah. That's what it is to me right now. I'm paying attention. That doesn't mean the worm isn't going to turn again. But the worm now,
the worm has turned.
The worm clearly right now is munching on Big Ten apples.
No question.
And
no question.
So we'll see where it goes.
I'll tell you, I know we're going to run here, but
no, we don't. We can go as long as you want.
As I was talking to somebody about this, Ohio State recruiting is failing. We're getting beat out by this and this and this. And somebody said to me, this is about as plain as it gets. Every school gets $20 million now.
Correct.
And as this person
20.5.
And as this person said to me, two teams that are now players that weren't players before in this game are Illinois and Michigan State.
Yeah.
And they're starting to throw their weight around.
Yeah.
Like a Texas Tech paying $4 or $5 million to an offensive lineman. So
when you're recruiting somebody from another state to come play for your hallowed grounds, your state and your play, I mean, it's always been a competition.
Sure.
And then he has no necessarily vested feelings about Ohio State or whomever. Now, if you did notice when Ohio State lost the running back that we're talking about, Savion Hitter, I mean, there wasn't a lot of crying going on at Ohio State. I mean, they feel really good about the guys they've got and the guys they're going to get, if you follow my drift.
Sure.
But when you're in competition, and a guy can legitimately put 3 or 4 caps out on the table and pick the other team, that doesn't necessarily mean you're over in the corner crying about it.
No, exactly.
That's what gets missed in all this ballyhoo, this ridiculous, had a great visit. felt like family, felt like home. Well, they say that almost every place they go,
Of
you know,
course. Yeah.
and a lot of it now is definitely, by the way, how do I fit into your revenue sharing plans as a freshman?
That's right.
Yeah.
What's the tab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's in it for me
so
and
if
my family?
So if Ohio State finishes 8th this year in the recruiting rankings, don't go shoot yourself.
No, there's some pretty good talent on hand as we speak already at Ohio State.
Yeah, yeah.
But you do finally have to win some of those battles. You clearly do.
Yeah, and I think the rankings do matter, even though they're at times quite arbitrary.
Yeah.
But last time I checked, if Ryan's only issue is Michigan. He's 70-10. He has the highest winning percentage of any active coach in the country.
You know what? That was trivia. I was in a trivia contest the other night at the filling station up in, because my son is assistant manager there, assistant general manager. And I did not get that question right of how many losses has Ryan Day had. And the guy even gave a hint. It's an even number.
Yeah.
And I started counting them in my head, but then I forgot a couple because, I remember every game, but I guess I don't. And I had 8.
You had 8.
Yeah. I don't, I should know that. It should be wrote like the sun is hot. His record going into the season is 70-10. It should be wrote,
right?
But it wasn't.
Do you know the winning percentage? I mean, it's just
you divide you divide 10 by 70, and that's what you got, right?
It's 87.5.
Yeah, that's pretty good by any stretch.
Yeah,
in any sport, that's pretty damn good. Plus, the asterisk is a win over everybody else for the college football playoff national championship.
Before we go, let me just say, as I was perusing the notes, I was not aware of this, that an SEC team has never won in the shoe. Now, it's not a huge sample size,
right?
0-4,
right. But everybody remember, and Texas was in the Big 12 when it came here the last time,
right? Yeah, and I'm still not used to Oklahoma, Texas being in the SEC.
Right.
I don't think frankly,
doesn't fit.
They don't fit.
But
they don't belong here. But as Gordon Gee, let me bring this from 15 years ago. It was a bowl trip and things were starting to percolate or bubble up, as you say.
Yeah. And
he said, Clay, this is what we want. Texas and Notre Dame. That's all we want. The rest of it be damned. They got that one. I don't know if they'll ever get the Irish.
What was he talking about? You mean a win over them or just playing them?
No, adding them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Those were the two.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm on record many places saying this. I truly believe that when the dust finally settles on the orogeny is the, what made the Ozark Mountains, what made the Rocky Mountains, just the movement of plates and stuff that cause big upheavals and stuff. When the orogeny, which we're still in the midst of, is finally done in major college sports, especially football, I truly believe Notre Dame and North Carolina will be in the Big Ten. That's what I truly believe. We'll see if that happens. But
love UNC.
Yeah, eventually I think a 20, because then the logo can be Big Ten times 2.
There you go.
Are you with me?
I like it.
Are you on board with that? And so I really still see that as eventually being the thing. Yeah, I think it made sense to go after Texas because now back then I'm going, wait a minute, Texas is way down there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? USC and UCLA are way over there times 2. Pardon my pun there.
3.
And Washington, you can't get much farther away in the United States than Seattle from anywhere. And then you went to I went to Eugene last year for the first time ever, Eugene, Oregon, and you got to change.
I was there.
You pretty much got to change planes to go to Eugene, man. So
I didn't because that was the other. I don't know if we ever got
beautiful,
into that, but another
beautiful part of our country, though. Gosh Almighty.
Another show. I want to tell you how you do this for 40 years, and then you're suddenly on the team plane. It's like, what? That
was queer, wasn't it?
It was really an experience.
Yeah. And let's tell people, you filled in last year for Matt Andrews when he had his problem.
He had medical leave,
and you were the sideline reporter. Real quick before we go, what was that like? Was it,
my last game,
first, were you privy to stuff that you wanted, that was, you hadn't been privy to before, but then number 2, could you tell anybody about it?
It was just service with a smile, and not that Ohio State doesn't treat people well. They do. It was just the ability to, and I pushed the envelope. You got to stay from the goal line to 20. Clay, please don't get in there with the players
with the team. Yeah.
And I said, well, wait a minute. You want me to tell you what's going on? So I got caught in there a couple of times, and Jerry goes, "You can't be in there." Jerry Emick, who is one blessed soul.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
one of our great
friends.
Allies.
I call him a friend, man.
No question.
I've known him a long time.
But I think the best part. I think Penn State was my last game, and they win the away game, and Bjork comes out there with Ted Carter, and then there's a door to go in, a door to go out. And so I would get Ryan would
wait a minute. That's the best way of putting the Penn State dressing room situation. Go ahead now.
It just to be. I mean, I'm standing in there, and you just get to watch the whole thing explode.
Yeah,
because it was a game, another big catalyst to it, and so Ryan would do his talk back with them, and then I would get him, and then they bring the players to you. It's not fighting with 30 or 40 or 50, on the road reporters. And when we got in, and then you had to follow instructions. They'll leave you now if you don't get on the right bus. So we go to this. Penn State was back when you started. I think you had to take 2 planes, and there was some crummy runway.
Oh yeah,
and it looked like NASA.
Yeah, it looked like an aircraft carrier, the original airport. Yeah, until they extended the runways.
I see.
Woody one time sent the guys that were on the backups plane, sent them in first in kind of like dicey situations over there. Jeff Logan tells that story great, and then they had to shoot the instrument approach to see if they could get in with no problem, which they did. And then Woody and his plane came in.
So we got to the airport, going up the stairs to get in, and Ryan is standing in the aisle, and he is so excited.
He even gave you a hug, didn't he?
He said, "Clay Hall, get in here, baby." And I he gave me a little tapped up, whatever. And I walked down. One of the other coaches goes, "You're in."
Yeah.
So
get this. That dude, but you witnessed, in my opinion, the crux game, much like it was in 2014, as Joey Bosa said, nobody's going to remember how close this game was. Remember the walk-off shove sack?
No doubt.
Nobody's going to remember how close this game was. They're going to remember we figured out a way to win this game and got it done. That's what Ohio State did last year at Penn State. And, they lost to Michigan. Boo-hoo. They lost to Michigan. But they got to the playoffs. They knew what kind of team they had after that Penn State game because they had shuffled the deck again on the offensive line, and it had come through. Donovan Jackson, such an MVP of that team.
Oh, my goodness.
It was nuts, moving out the left tackle and taking on Abdul Carter right on down the line. I mean, so many things happened in that game which solidified why Ohio State was playing for the national championship later, and Penn State ended up not playing for it.
Yeah, wasn't it Will Howard who got the clinching first down and then gives it this?
Yeah, of course, he also fumbled going into the end zone, which will live in infamy with him and stuff, or it might have been a blowout. Who knows?
Right.
But that's why Saturday is an important game. Ohio State number 2 in the coaches poll versus Texas number 1 in both major polls, playing in Ohio Stadium. I do not see it as a referendum game as long as the game is fairly close. This is just a great spectacle that may be rare down the road in college football, because if you play 9 conference games against basically, that means you're playing a Power 4 team for 9 games. Why would you risk everything necessarily
and play another? Because
the thing about it is that kind of game then can be held against you if you both have 2 or 3 losses later on down the road, even though they say it won't, can be held against you, even though you had the audacity to play a game like that. So I'm very much looking forward to it. How about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no doubt about it. It just, I know you would love to see him play a little bit later. I just think it's the ultimate taste tester right out of the
You just want to see them play one way or the other,
right
really.
out of the chute. But I want to see them play this team and not.
Yeah.
We'll play Ohio in week 3.
Yeah.
You know, the MAC will appear and Grambling before that. But
Yeah.
no, I'm ready to go.
By the way,
ready.
make middle of next week prompt me on my new fight song for Grambling. I've got one.
Really?
I've got one. And I
Grambling.
wrote it in my head.
I've been to Grambling, brother. I covered the SWAC and the HBCUs for 12 years, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Have a lot of appreciation for the work that guys like
Absolutely.
Eddie Robinson and W.C. Gordon.
I'll pose a question to you later next week on one of these shows on an either or, because I don't want to get your take on it, but I'm not even going to give you a hint on it now. But
Okay.
but I'm looking forward to that. And by the way, on Friday's show, which will basically this Friday, the Tim May show featuring Clay Hall, we'll have an elongated interview with the Tim May, as they call him, of Texas media coverage, just because we both covered things for a long time. Kirk Bowles, long time with the Austin American-Statesman, now with the Houston Chronicle. He has some interesting things to say. We both compare notes, et cetera. It's a good precursor for the game, which will be on Saturday, August the 30th. I'm very much looking forward to airing that. We hope to have another really good surprise guest if things break. But you know what? You never like that one's in the bank. That interview is in the bank.
Yeah.
But you never like to even hint at what could also be coming until you got it in the bank. Because what if it doesn't happen? You know, boo-hoo, no ballyhoo, just boo-hoo. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Clay Hall, this is Tim May. This is the Tim May Show. We'll see you next time.